rarely ever miss a smite.
So he is very good at smites, but you said, you know, he's always been on the team. He was actually kicked from the team for a small period there, and it actually, talk about humbling someone, like, he used to be, you know, a little bit arrogant, let's be honest, but he took that benching and he came back. He's such a down-to-earth guy now, and he's very dedicated. We already talked about C9 being rededicated, but Nintendo really took that to heart, and he's come back and just roaring ahead, and he's given everything he has to these LCS games.
Well, and of course, we go into the game here and we realize that a lot of research has been done because the Riven banned away from ZionSpartan. The Nunu, we've seen Red Team banned it the whole way through. Daydreamin's Nami, I gotta say, he's been great on that champion.
Yeah.
But Coast says, great, but we're gonna steal Kennen.
I was talking to Hai before the game and trying to figure out some secret strategies that I could share with you guys, but he wouldn't say anything except that nobody's gonna get Nunu against them. They don't like playing against Nunu. Nobody wants to deal with that guy. And so that's the one consistent ban that you'll probably see from Cloud9.
But of course, speaking of consistent, Cloud9 just goes down the roster of most picked champions in Korea and says, all right, well, you get rid of that one. We'll go next up here. The Jace being taken straight away. The Thresh as well. They've already got some power in this lineup.
Oh, yeah. They had, you know, no Zac, no Rumble. Okay, you picked Kennen. Boom. Next to Jace and Thresh. Both very good at making plays, even though Thresh can no longer do the sneaky flash hooks. He can still do a flash and then a hook. It's just a little bit easier to dodge. Meanwhile, though, Cloud9 with some of those quintessential, Team Coast with some very interesting picks here. We'll probably see the tanky Fiddlesticks. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be a mid Fiddlestick. Shiphtur's very, very fond of that Lissandra, and we've seen him use it so well, setting up AoE team fights, which really works so well with their first two picks.
You know what's interesting, though, is there is a small, I would say very small, but possible chance that both those champions are supports. Like, Evaniscus has already shown us support Lissandra. Edward from Curse on his AMA, so Lissandra is actually very, very good support as well. Fiddlesticks actually is a massive one over in Korea, and it's one that might just give Cloud9 some pause. They've got a few seconds left to make some choices and realize the next two picks of their lineup, but they realize Coast has very hard initiation. They go for the Nasus, they go for the Draven. A lot of fight here.
Yeah, Coast really showed their hand early. Those three, no matter what lanes they go to, that is AoE team fight. Like, that is all of it right there. That's all you need. You don't even have to add on any more AoE there. So Cloud9 coming up with the best possible answers would be the wave clear of Nasus for those early pushes there. If Coast try and invade jungle, Nasus is one of the best champions at dealing with being invaded, and one of your buffs stolen early, he can just go shove a lane so easily because he has that amazing wave clear very early on.
And of course, we look, though, at what Coast wants to do, which is just straight dive you. Good luck wave clearing. We'll jump on you anyway. Jarvan jumping in there to do the dunks. Of course, Twitch on the back lines. These guys will start a fight, and this is like the most Cloud9 team I've ever seen. And
you talked about Fiddlesticks or Lissandra being supports. One of them is probably going to be it here after the last pickup with Jarvan. Jarvan, AD middle, is definitely a Shiphtur champion. He loves having the surprise damage and just building full attack damage on Jarvan. You can get the same kind of burst that you can with someone like Zed.
And that will be such a scary thing to deal with for these guys. A Demacian dunking you, and you know, we can do it as well as Noxians can, or Ionians as well. Everyone's got their own ability to one-shot, guys. But it is Cloud9 with their last choice to make here. They've got a mid or top laner really left. I suppose you've seen like top lane Nasus, but no, the Twisted Fate that has come through the whole way. The last pick here grabbed for Cloud9.
So yeah, the first part of Cloud9's answer to this AoE team fight was the wave clear. You need strong wave clear if you're going to go split push. You have to have your 4 members be able to hold off the other team as long as possible. Nasus is amazing for doing it with his Spirit Fire, and he'll buy time for that Twisted Fate to split push in the bottom lane.
Yeah. Well, guys, of course, you're a live crowd, and I love you for it. I want to hear you guys cheer for this game, the last of the day. Let me hear you, Anaheim.
That man right there is excited. He doesn't even want to show us his sign. He's just more excited about yelling.
All right, well, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, it's going to be Coast versus Cloud9. The team's ready to go, and so are we.
Oh, something's upside down.
Hello Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show here. Blue team, Coast, red team, Cloud9. Again, live audience, I love you guys so much because you make amazing noise. Blue team, Coast, if you want to root for them, let me hear you right now.
All right, Cloud9 have just successfully invaded that red side. If you're a C9 fan, let's hear you.
And online fans, let us hear you on Twitter.
Woo! There's the first tweet, and it's for Cloud9.
Hashtag CST, hashtag C9, put them up there. Our lovely MLG robots will count them, and then let everyone know who you thought was going to win. We'll see if you're right. You win one internet if you voted correctly on the game. A lot of early wards coming down there from Cloud9. They've got a freaking ton of vision in the enemy jungle to start things off.
This is actually a rarity. Cloud9 have invaded both red and blue side, so they've got really, really good wards here to see where Nintendo will be going on this sneaky Jarvan. By the way, people, it's going to be that Jungle Jarvan support Fiddlesticks.
Jungle Jarvan support fit. I thought the Armor Shred was going to be support for sure. Dang.
Oh.
Even his attack speed buff, it's basically Nami. Got a knock up and everything. But Coast, of course, are sitting there at their own red buff. They're in vision of the enemy team, but Cloud9 doesn't seem to care. They put the wards down, but they're just farming out at the beginning of the game.
And look at the swap that we have here. The purple side are sending Sneaky up top. So Meteos could go for a supported steal of the blue buff of Coast if he wanted to. He would have the numbers advantage.
Well, it's actually, that move being preempted by Coast right here. They're actually having the same idea. We see Jarvan is already down to the bottom lane. Unless he goes for the dive on Jarvan, this could be a blue buff steal.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to trade the blue buffs here. Both teams thinking the same thing.
Well, smart adaptations on both sides. You gotta say that these teams understand each other and the game so well. The early wards down for both sides said, oh, we know which way you're going. Well, we know which way you're going. Okay, we'll trade blue buffs.
And everybody's happy.
Yay!
Both junglers now have hit level 3, and we see the immediate Jarvan rotation to mid. If you can gank Twisted Fate very early, you definitely want to...
Ooh, gets the shield slow. Nice
Just
try.
kidding. You need that knock-up to hit, or else he's not going to be able to win anything. I was saying, as a jungler, you always want to keep that pressure on the champion with the global.
Wow, and the pressure, of course, already there in the top lane, man. He is just gone right there. ZionSpartan pushed out this turret. I mean, very early jumped on. One jungle gank was spent on mid, did nothing. One jungle gank spent top. This could be a turret.
This is the difference between the two junglers. Jarvan ganks and leaves. Meteos does not gank and leave. He stays there for a turret. He uses that NASA Spirit Fire to take down the early advantage.
And there we see Nintendude realizing, yep, I'm going to make the same choice right there. Tried for a gank, couldn't quite get it. But to his credit, despite a failed gank, he still gets that same turret pressure. He still gets to take a turret down for his team and got a gank out of it.
And they're only a few seconds behind. The next step is, do we recall after this first turret, or do we try and answer here? C9 definitely want another turret in this top lane.
Oh my gosh, look at that, just losing health right there. Before 4 minutes, it's down below 3/4 health. The minion waves are getting destroyed right there by Sneaky, Meteos, and Co. And there's the pressure on. Of course, we look at what Coast are going to do. They're still pushing the right-hand side lane, but they're not going to get the same pressure that we're getting from C9 here.
A few seconds mean everything. That was half of the damage of this turret in the secondary turret over here in the top for C9, but Shiphtur's coming around, very early rotation.
He's looking forward, looks for the slow, can't quite land it. Lantern comes out in case he needed to save a friend. No gank quite happens here for Coast.
By the way, in that mid lane, Shiphtur had already gone right over to high and burned his flash out, trading with the Ignite. Going for the all-in, didn't quite finish him off, but is able to get that important flash down on TF, and pre-6, TF is not a threat right now. Without the flash, he's going to be struggling.
So if you were a betting man, what are the odds Nintendude shows up for Twisted Fate?
What's our Twitter thing at? I'd probably say more than that. I'd probably say like 80%. Nintendude is going to go after the Twisted Fate without flash.
All right, let's see if he can go for it and get the dunk going. Of course, a lot of crowd control available. Shiphtur is going to follow up with Nintendude when he goes for it. The wards are put down. The left-hand side brush being revealed on both sides so high. He's going to sit on that side of the lane and hope that he can just run away from Jarvan successfully.
Yeah, so this is actually a good play here by High. You know, he knows without flash they'll probably be coming at him again, just staying back, going to CS from afar here. TF still has great range. He doesn't have to overextend.
Well, after this minion goes down, the wave will push a little bit forward. See where High goes, because Jarvan is still waiting in the wings, looks to look for the lane, and says, nope, I can't find it.
And Shiphtur still does have flash. Sandra's great at initiating herself, too, so they could set something up in that lane. It looks like it'll just be the shove.
Alright, just the shove. So let's see what these guys end up doing. I do like pointing out what's happening in this bottom lane, though, because Sneaky and LemonNation have swapped back for that bottom lane to try to bully out Twitch. MashMe did take double golems, but now they've got to deal with a pretty big Draven with a 4-kill lead, and Draven's always scary in lane.
Draven is really scary in lane, you know, inherently known as a bully in lane. He's done a pretty good job here. They took so much pressure top that they actually forced Kennen, who's also known as a lane bully, to get behind Balls, who is on Jace and relies on that ramping up time.
And of course, he has already finished that tier. That was the big thing he needed to make sure happened, and he's got it. 60 mana on the tier, gonna try to charge it up as best he can. See if the lead can stick. ZionSpartan is just back for Amp Tome. We'll see if that's gonna do enough to change the lane in his favor.
Yeah, ZionSpartan really got the short end of the stick with the 2-1 swap there.
Was that a short choke because he's a Yordle?
Is that a short choke? Yes, it was.
Why are you racing?
We have 2 people going to middle here. See, Nintendo could easily start up a gank too, but he uses the half of his flag and drag, so there won't be any action.
But the fear does come across. It's going to be an attempted pull there onto Sneaky. This is not good for Twitch, but he's turned invisible. No gank is going to come through there. Cleanses off the Ignite just to make sure, but Twitch does escape. Only burn, well, he did flash as well. Sorry, he burned both summoners for it.
Flash and cleanse down, really huge for DontMashMe. Plus that means a second turret. You can see the lane bullying potential of a jungle Nasus brought here. They're gonna try and answer this one before the 3 men from Coast can converge.
They're looking for it right there. It's a 3 versus potentially 3. MashMe's still around. Daydreamin's looking around as well. Can they pull the gank off? There comes Jarvan. Nintendude says hello. Cloud9's backing off a little bit, but not much. They still put more damage in that turret. They put some harass on Nintendude. The hook comes by as well. They're still looking at going on Nintendude. This could be enough. Oh, the flame misses from LemonNation.
And Twisted Fate was also leaking down towards that bottom lane. Shiphtur had the exact same idea. Could have been explosive, but they actually are going to have Nintendo get out with his life and just to see that turret.
So there's a jump in onto High, a lot of damage up, but there, unfortunately, no jungle to follow up. The ult comes up. Do they have enough to kill off High? Ignite is on. Melts his own ice block. Now Shiphtur's so low on health. Can he kill off High? The minions are there. No, first blood going to High.
Purple caster minions plus cannon minion. OP there.
Very much so. And there's the hook, the jump across the wall. That's going to be Dragon started up here for Cloud9. So they've got a turret, they've got a kill, they're going to get a Dragon. Very good early game for these guys.
You could say that High's death right there wasn't too big of a deal because they got Dragon after that, but there was no reason for High, or I mean Shiphtur right there. But there was no reason for Shiphtur to go with that all-in with the minion wave against him.
So a little bit of a rough calculation there on that one. Sneaky's going to make himself very obvious in this mid lane and chunk down some minion waves. Looks like they're still looking to put pressure on this one. Of course, the secondary left-hand side turret, that top lane second turret, ZionSpartan's turret, did go down as well. Really good job by Balls. Yeah, you said that Zion got the short end of the stick at level 1, very, very early on, and you're seeing that sort of snowball ahead. Balls is still bullying him out, takes the turret down.
It's a great adaptation by C9. Now they're looking for a blue steal here.
It's going to get taken away with a good slide by Nintendo. Flashes across, but they're going to keep on going. Ball's going to get taken down, has the lantern. The dart comes across. High is going to go back for a stun. The pull comes off on a Shiphtur. They choose different targets, and they just get the 1 kill.
So looked like Balls got a little bit over-aggressive right there. You can't steal away from a jungler with his smite up. Plus, he had to go down for that and pay for it with his life after.
Now, brutal opening there, but Meteos is still looking to go tanky. Actually, he got a flask on Jungle Nasus. I almost never, ever see that. Yeah, he's going straight ancient golem, but he picked up a crystalline flask.
It's because he's been spending so much time in lanes. He shoves a lane all the way to turret, and then he recalls to base. So he's making so many base trips, he's really making use of refilling that flask, and he wants all that extra mana regen to continually cast his Spirit Fires and continually push the lanes. And
of course he's paid for it so well. I mean, look at the minion kill difference between those 2 junglers. Meteos is fully double what Nintendude has. Nintendude has a kill, of course, that gank from Jarvan is there, but Nasus has just spent so much time farming up lanes. He's got a lot of gold on him.
And he didn't just get gold for himself, he got gold for his whole team because they were taking down the turrets and getting that global reward. Yeah. Looking at the CS though, Balls has done such a great job of taking that early lead and the fact that Zion was forced into a lane without a turret and snowballing that. Even though Balls overextended at the blue buff and paid for that one with his life, he's done a great job in lane, and he's going to be a very, very strong poking threat later.
So the poking threat's going to be difficult for them. Coast is going to have to initiate fights really with their team companies. They don't have nearly the same amount of poke that the opposition does. And the only guy who's really holding up right now is actually DontMashMe. Yeah, he's lost his lane turret, some of that was Draven, but he's keeping up in minions. He's actually, the rest of the team is going to group up and take a mid turret down. Oh, High's got to run from that one.
This is exactly what Coast wants. They would love to be able to combo their AoE abilities. Like we said in Champion Select, the first 3 picks, crucial to use all at the same time. They want a giant team fight, but C9 are not going to give it to them. They're continually split pushing both side lanes at the same time.
What a great adaptation by that team. The team that normally tower dives, normally just says, we're going to go all in and make your life miserable, says, you know what? You guys actually probably 5v5 really well. We're going to take a little bit of a different game plan right here and play it out the right way and kind of beat the fact that you need to all be together. We'll split you up.
And Boss is doing a really good job splishing too. He's recalling now because he didn't have ward coverage and he didn't want to get caught out once again. So he was able to clear up the minions and go back to base. He still has not purchased a ward yet though. So he is pushing this top lane blind all the way through to the inhibitor turret. There's no more turrets left outside of the base in that lane.
And so you see the minion kills like fluctuate back and forth because he pushes so many minion waves down. He's up like 99 to 66, but then Zion has the chance to freeze it. This is the thing, is Zion could freeze this lane, make it so difficult for C9 to ever show up there for the next 5 minutes. And as long as Coast can hold on to their other turrets, that freeze will actually not backfire on them.
What happens when you freeze a lane is that it puts a lot of pressure on the rest of your team to defend 4 versus 5 at an outer turret. This mid turret is going to be 5 members of C9 coming down, and Coast, they don't have the same wave clear that I talked about C9 having, so it's going to be very difficult for them. Yeah. Draven actually isn't even with them.
Now, it's very nebulous. They have like a little bit of AoE, and you're seeing that, you know, they show up, they get the minions kind of low, they get a couple of hits on the turret, and then Cloud9 backs off. They're poking down as much as they can. They just don't quite get everything. Let's see what the adaptation is for Cloud9, because actually, no, Zion has gone back to push. He's got a huge minion wave top. This will actually force balls up there.
Yeah, but before going back, he landed that huge accelerated shock blast onto Shiphtur, which jumped out about half of his life, and you can see the potential there from the Jace with the Mana Immune plus Brutalizer.
Oh, good flash by ZionSpartan, getting away from the TF ultimate. That was a bit risky for him. Said, you know what, you've got too much burst. The Sheen, the Slurk shoots, the double Doran's ring. Don't want to deal with that. Those 2 guys seen top. Coast, I don't know if they can quite answer this though.
They're going to try and shove, but again, the wave clear of Nasus is so strong right now that they'll stay and defend this turret.
They're outnumbered so far. They pull TF across the wall. Here comes the initiation. They find Nintendude, but Shiphtur might want to go in. Oh, he doesn't. That was actually interesting communication there. A sneaky split push is going to get a turret, but Shiphtur put his E forward right as Nintendude wanted to go out. They could have fought a 4v3.
Very, very dangerous right there. They could have all in, but the turrets right now, too scary, decide to pull back instead. And having Kennen earlier blow his flash defensively is actually a huge win for C9. Even though they had to use the TF ultimate to get that cooldown, they'll take that trade any day. Not having flash on your slicing Maelstrom initiate from Kennen is really a huge part down for Coast's little AoE combo that they're trying to pull off.
So the AoE combo, of course, is going to require some gold to pull off successfully because there's not a lot of ability power on these guys just yet, and not a lot of attack damage either. Let's look down the line for Coast. Haunting Guys is there for Kennen. He's got 1,000 gold, but you need about 3K for a Zonies. He's got a long way to go until that. Shiphtur, he's doing it much better. He's getting closer to his, big items with the ability power, but it's DontMashMe. The only guy who's been holding up so far is just sitting on a BF sword. There's so far to go for Coast to get any explosive damage. They're just behind and it's hard for them to group up.
And we're going to see that difference in items right now.
Yeah, there we go. The Dragon attempt is on. Gold card lock. The wild card spam just so difficult to deal with. High with blue buff, making it really difficult to maneuver.
So not right now, but in a few seconds there. The Thresh hook landed. He did not pull a Chaucer. He did not go in, 2 versus 5 right there, and he did not have to pay for that one with his life. But they were able to force them off of that Dragon, and now Cloud9 can shove in this lane with the Jace poke plus blue buff TF.
Yeah, that mid lane pressure is just so much to deal with. They didn't want to trade mid lane turret. Wow, just Coach wants to go in. Can they have the engagement we need? Captain's coming across. They're slicing Maelstrom. Everyone is exploding right now. ZionSpartan kites it out. 1-for-1 so far. The Crosser coming across, but it's Meteos. Oh my god, exploding everybody. That fight was rough. Cloud9 comes out very far ahead.
Cloud9 dominated Coast right there. The AoE combo just did not pack any sort of punch. And LemonNation landing the early death sentence onto DontMashMe forced both the cleanse and flash backwards very early from Twitch, which meant not much damage coming down from Coast, and they all almost died.
That gold lead so important. Bloodthirster versus BF Sword on the AD carries. Manamune stacking up and a Brutalizer completed. Oh yeah, that's pretty big for these guys. So there's the gold lead at work for you Cloud9 fans right there. And of course they get to capitalize that off that Dragon they just stopped.
Dragon is definitely going to be free right now. There's no way that anybody from Coast can get over here. You have to, if you're going to give out awards, so you have to call out balls on that last one. The damage, his spike potential right now is so ridiculously high, and it looks like with that pickaxe, he might even be going for the last Whisper on top of this to have flat penetration comboed with the percentage penetration.
Ouch, so a very, very painful Jace to deal with. Just that's going to be rough for you guys. Neo getting close to completing for Sneaky as well. The items just continually going in. Lich Bane done for high, so now he is that menacing, incredibly hard to deal with split pusher with that item completed.
TF rushing Lich Bane definitely means they're looking for more objectives. But look at the turrets all down. They're going to have to go into the base if they want to get more buildings.
That's not going to be easy for them to do. Of course, Shiphtur grabbing his blue buff just now. That one was taken onto the correct champion here for Coast. As the buffs get taken, Cloud9 says, all right, we are up 9,000 gold. We are up 50% over you guys because of how well we're dominating turrets, how well we're splitting you up and taking these fights over. This is textbook Cloud9. Huge early game lead, and now it's their turn to, what do they do with it?
And they're just destroying Coast's main practice that they were revolving their entire team composition around, where they wanted to have those double Zanyas with the AoE from Shiphtur and Zion, but they haven't been able to complete that key item, and so their team fight is just really not there.
And you're really seeing that too. 100 minion kills by 17 minutes is just a very, very low mark. We like to applaud people who sit it at 10 per minute and are like, oh man, he has 180 minions at 17. But they're not even close to that. They're at a very, very low minion mark here. Cloud9 are forcing, it's weird, they're like forcing a low economy game for both sides, but Cloud9 has turrets, so they're actually still on pace for items.
Exactly, they already have the Aegis of the Legion, which is hugely important against that AoE team, and it's why Coast didn't have enough damage to make their combo actually pull it off in that last fight.
So just incredible stuff right here. No big items still done yet. The rating actually for DontMashMe to finish an Infinity Edge, just the BF Sword and the pickaxe, he's got like 1,200 gold to go until that item gets completed, and that's just a huge power spike that they are potentially not even going to get this game. They're sending MashMe to the bottom lane. He's trying to pick up the farm there and catch up to his opponents. He's got a long way to go.
Coast are definitely looking to turtle right now. All they want to do is have enough vision of the Baron area or vision through minions of Cloud9 being in lanes so that Cloud9 don't go steal that Baron. And they're just trying to turtle and make their last stand on these inhibitor turrets.
Well, the last stand, they're going to look for it here. Of course, they will have those crazy AoE ults, the Crow Storm, the Cataclysm, Slicing Maelstrom, all of that will be nice if they can group the enemy team together. Sneaky right there. Actually, MashMe wants to battle this, but gets chunked to half health with a single Q. That's not good for MashMe here.
And C9 are really just trying to force in something. It looks like Hive's getting initiated on.
You've got a lot of damage on the Lantern is nearby, but it's not going to be enough. 1-0. Here comes the Crow Storm. They get the fear into Meteos. He's got Tenacity. Daydreamin falls down. The fight starts. They find Paul. The next come across. They find another kill. LemonNation's going to go down. Meteos taking it up. Double kill so far for Zion. But Sneaky, he's not done. He looked for Nintendude. He's going to javelin jump away, but it's a 3-for-3 that started as a 1-for-0.
Great catch there by Coast. That's exactly what they were looking for. High was a little bit too close, but pushing with that TF Lich Bane, trying to get the damage down, but paid for that one with his life, and it ends up 3-for-3. So the small trades, even if Coast goes even, they definitely will take that one because now they actually have free time for DontMashMe to farm, which is where they need this the extra damage spike in that Infinity Edge to come from.
They really do need the gold on him. Unfortunately for them, DontMashMe is only assists right now. 0-0-3 hasn't died, that's good for him, but he's not getting those killing blows. He's not getting farmed that much off the team fights. That might just be rough for them. The item's still getting closer to completed though. This is, I think, really the break point that matters so much for Coast is getting those Zonias done. The components are there for Zion and Shiphtur. The gold is not quite. Shiphtur just now has the gold required to finish Zonias. Zion still has room to go. And of course, as we keep talking about, DontMashMe, still 500 gold to go as well for his big boost.
Exactly. As soon as they get Infinity Edge plus double Zonias, they're going to be happy. Shiphtur's got his now, but we also had Nintendude make a good play. He used that small amount of time where Cloud9 didn't have pressure to go sneak a ward up by Baron. And so now they can again return to their turtle game and just try and farm out that last bit of gold.
And of course, hard engage is not really Cloud9's specialty either, unless they use the Zhonya's TF. They don't have that Zac. They do, however, have damage. This could be the fight starting to stun up the Shiphtur. He blows it without getting to do anything. 1-0. This could be Cloud9 taking the base.
That's the problem if you rely on Zhonya's and your ultimate as Lissandra. She's so squishy. If you get locked down with CC, you don't get a chance to pop either of those.
Oh my gosh, so here we go. The fight might just start in the wave clear. Still coming through that inhibitor turret down below half health. High elimination sneaky, trying to make that one fall down. Of course, Coast does not want to fight a 4v5. They will have to give up the inhibitor. Cloud9 makes their way into the base.
That's going to be an easy inhibitor for them, and they'll actually pull back out now because they do have an Oracles, and they can sweep the map for vision and gain more than just the gold from that turret and strangle the rest of the jungle.
And they are strangling the map right now. You look at them running down towards the bottom lane, chunking these minions out, making sure that there's just darkness on all sides of Coast's map. Only the top lane has any minions, but High's going to soak that one up. It's interesting, though, Cloud9 are playing patiently. They're saying that, you know what, we'll take all the minion farm. We're not worried about closing the game out just now. We know we're in really comfortable spots. We'll just strangle the map.
Once you have broken down one of the inhibitor turrets and you have that opening in your opponent's base, you can completely relax as a TF team who's rushed that Lich Bane, because the other team always has to be worried about a split push from a Lich Bane TF.
So there we go, minions just flooding in constantly now towards the Coast base. Dragon is being taken down on respawn. Global objective still being picked up here by Cloud9. 38,000 to 26,000, not quite 50% more gold at this point, but certainly a huge, massive gold lead. Coast, I feel like they need to rely on some kind of pick, get a 1-0 and try to turn around from there.
And note that Cloud9 have completely ignored Baron up until this point. They did not even give Baron a second look until they've already breached Coast base and taken out an inhibitor. The new magnet does not attract Cloud9.
It does not indeed. Looks like the clouds are charged the other way right there and won't get pulled in. That was okay. We'll see. Coast right now looking to take away their buff. We just saw a bunch of them get grabbed. The red buff now going to be up for DontMashMe. Sneaky had just grabbed his. These teams have picked up some temporary power, but you're just seeing, as you just watch High kill these minions with such little effort. Meteos now with the pink ward also sweeping out wards. This is the time they finally look at Barrett and say, well, you can't come to us without losing your base. We might go for this one.
Yeah, right now is such a difficult position for Coast. It's dangerous for them to even try and get vision of this Baron area because there's so much pick potential here for Cloud9.
Of course, the teams have grouped up. Oracle's there for Daydreamin, tries to sweep out some of the vision around, but of course the blue buff side is being spotted. The acceleration gate coming down from Jace. They might jump in. MashMe forced to use his stealth. Has a long tool, and that is his attack speed buff and his escape tool. He's got a little bit to go until that comes back.
C9 going for this Baron here. It looks like this may be Coast's opportunity. If they could actually pull off something around Baron in their favor, then it would get them right back into the game. But Cloud9 are not going to take the unnecessary risks here.
They're playing the minion waves well. They get the pull on Nintendo. He might just blow up right now. He goes for the duck and it explodes right there. Shiphtur forced to ult himself right now. T-Fight has started. The slicing mill from does so much, but it's a 2-0 so far. Zion forced to run. Shiphtur not in good shape either. 3-0. MashMe left alone. Flashes back. TFL comes by. High says hello. Pops the gold card. He does get a shutdown kill. Can MashMe run away from this one? He stealths away, which doesn't mean much for the TF ult and just blows up right there. Only ZionSpartan left alive. This is Cloud9's game.
And now High says goodbye to DontMashMe. Going down, that's going to be 4 champions and an easy top turret.
And of course, Ball says, you know what? I'm going to take you down, thank you very much. Gets the high five slam right there. And now it's just the turret standing in the way of Cloud9. However, that fight took so long that Coaster respawning.
You have to remember, we're still just now coming close to 25 minutes. This is still an early game. This is how quickly Cloud9 play. And they didn't rush the Baron. They just cleared out all the vision and forced Coast into their hands there. And they forced them into that move. There's not a lot of really opportunity for Coast to actually make a play when you have to face check like that.
Exactly, the Jarvan Lantern that came, not the Jarvan Lantern, sorry, but the Thresh Hook that came across and said, Nintendude, you will die before getting to actually use any of your abilities. Nintendude's going for Aegis now. He would have some more tank stats for his team, but they remove him before he gets to have any impact on the fights. And then from a 5v4, man, it has been easy for Cloud9. So we look at what Coast has to do. They've got items completed finally. The double Zonias are there. The Infinity Edge is there. The Zeal is coming up soon-ish for MashMe. But just compare individual gold totals to see how high up Cloud9 are right now. 80 carries, 74 to 9,300 at 2,000 gold lead. The mid laners, a 4,000 gold lead for high. These are very big numbers.
And Coast are still in the same situation they were before that last team fight. No vision of Baron. It's too dangerous for them to go over there and try and sneak a ward. They almost have to concede that Baron at this point, unless they want to get murdered once again.
Oh no, Thresh, you got found. The fear didn't come off from Daydreamin. He went for the silence first, and then the flash came out in time to not get caught. That could have been a one for nothing, but no. Balls looking to go across the wall. The team fight has begun. It's explosive. Middlesix drops down, but the AoE's coming back across. Do they have enough damage? Looks like not. Cloud9 are wiping the floor with Coast right now. 3 kills, 4 kills. Shiphtur goes down. 5 for 1 right there. Goodbye, Coast.
Another bush gank, 3 men waiting there, but they weren't able to land that fear like you said. And if you're not able to 100% burst down a Cloud9 member, then you're not going to win the team fight. Even though Coast funneled them into that small jungle passageway, still, they just don't have the damage to back it up. And now, Cloud9 get free 2 more inhibitors down and free reign of Baron.
And they don't want to get taken down taking the Nexus turrets as the respawns are so short, but they do feel comfortable enough going for that Baron. As you say, the Oracles is there, the wards are there, puts the lantern down, and in goes the team. I don't know if Ghost is going to stop this. I highly doubt it.
It's so early in the game still that people have not had a chance to upgrade 2 home guards. We still have 2 people on Coast with the level 1 boots. There's no way they're going to make that run.
And it's going to be a dead Baron. No one is close enough at all to steal. Cloud9 cementing the advantage even further. Almost 50,000 gold to 32K. Cloud9 are looking absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, there's not much of Coast base to look at here. They've only got this bottom inhibitor and turret, and it's pretty easy to see where Cloud9 is going next.
The bottom lane?
The bottom lane. Or straight for the Nexus. Cloud9, they're not one to waste time, so they could easily, you know, go straight for the end game.
End game is here at 27 minutes, guys. That is how fast Cloud9 plays. DontMashMe was actually given the blue buff this time around. Shiphtur's been dying too fast, it seems, so he is the man that all the cards are resting on right here. Can DontMashMe somehow pentakill with Infinity Edge Zeal? That's going to be hard.
It's going to be very difficult. I feel like Coast still have to catch someone again. That was when, the only team fight where they actually went even was when they started out by catching High off guard and 100%ing him. And that only allowed them to go even in the team fight. They're really, really desperate right now.
So the Dragon had, of course, or is respawning soon. The team is lurking around in the shadows, waiting for it to come back up. Cloud9 really just always taking every single advantage possible. The red buff stolen away by Balls. There is a spawn on Dragon. Cloud9 says, okay, look, it is possible we lose a team fight. We will take everything possible on the map to make sure if you do win that fight, there's nothing for you to take to cement the advantage.
I don't know if they'll be able to go back and base in time to use that money from Dragon, because the base is probably not going to last that long. This final push right here could be it.
It really, really could be. That bottom lane is there. It's the focus. That turret has next to nothing in health right now. 3 attacks to drop it for almost any of the Cloud9 members. 1 if it was a Lich Bane. The pull comes off. They go on Nintendude. Here comes the initiation. Nintendude dies for free. There's the jump in. The slicing maelstrom gets knocked back out. Do they have the damage? Very, very low health bars, but it's going to be really, really rough. Natsu's alive, but it's a 3 for 1, 3 for 2, I should say. And there's the flash in by TF. High picks up another one. Only ZionSpartan's alive versus 3.
They were able to pull off the ultimate combo right there, but it's too late for that, guys. Cloud9 going on the Nexus turrets.
That's going to be it for them right there. Cloud9 taking it home right there, cementing their first place lead. Nexus goes down. Congratulations, Cloud9.
And we talked about them being predictable. Even if you ban out some of their favorite champions, no Rumble, no Zac in that one, they just go right down the list. Like you said, next most top pick champions from Korea will make those good use of those. Same early game plan, and they never let up the pressure.
Absolutely beautiful. And it was fun to see as well that they played their game, but they played it differently. It wasn't, okay, we picked Zac and Zed and we'll dive on top of you on your turret. They almost never actually did that. It was, look, we'll play aggressively, we'll take the map, we'll control it. They're very stifling. But they said, we're going to control you by split pushing. We're going to use the Nasus to wave through. They play around those picks so well and make adaptations and say, here's how we control you.
That was pretty much a clinic on how you run jungle Nasus. The pressure that he put on both side lanes to get them that early advantage snowballed the rest and opened up the rest of the map for TF ganks. TF can gank so much more when the outer turrets are down, and it makes Coast really have no answer for those teleports.
and they really didn't have the answer for it. Even in team fights, when they went for the 5v5, what's so funny about this is that Meteos, he went 6-1 and 15. He got a lot of the kills in those team fights, and he invested that into Spirit of the Ancient Golem, and then he went Runic Bulwark and locked into the Iron Solari. He was giving area of effect durability to his team in those fights. So Meteos put his gold to use, saying, you will not one-shot our team, they will just barely survive, and then when your ult's end, we'll come back at you. He wasn't carrying the conventional sense, but he carried by letting his team not die.
He's a team player, for sure. Always has his friend's life in mind with his item purchases.
But of course, Meteos did pick up another death in this game. We've been keeping track of them on one hand. I think he's up to like 3 now. The guy rarely goes down. Did, unfortunately, Meteos, that's not your week 1 MVP status. You died this game.
Going to be hard for him to repeat then, because there was a lot of really strong play from all the members of Cloud9, especially Balls, I have to say, on that Jace. He was just such a powerhouse from the back lines there, getting those shock blasts off on the perfect targets.
So an all-around all-star performance by the Cloud9 lineup. Sneaky, of course, didn't die as well, so continue kind of that trend. But guys, we're going to have a little bit more for you. We will have High for an interview, but before